me welcome to the stage President of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige!
People in San Diego County were rattled from downtown to Oceanside. People reported downtown buildings swaying and rolling in the far North County.
3 years ago, I profiled Kevin Feige, the chief of Marvel Studios and now the most profitable movie producer of all time. He's accounted for $8.5 billion in earnings, with the next highest being Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy and Jerry Bruckheimer Films' very own Jerry Bruckheimer. Since then, Feige's released 9 blockbusters and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and that list includes the biggest film of all time. He's transformed the global film industry, and naturally, his influence at the Mr. Mouse bounce house has grown. He's battled internal and external forces to maintain control of his growing empire. Having already explored the rise of Marvel Studios, link below if you haven't seen that yet, today I want to talk about Feige's continued quest for cinema dominance during the past 3 years. Quick shout out to clipsgarage.com, an incredible new stock video library. If you are in need of fresh video content, and who isn't these days, check them out, clipsgarage.com. Just to recap, when we last checked in on Kevin Feige, he had won a power struggle with Marvel chairman Ike Perlmutter, who wanted to restrict Feige's film budgets, along with Perlmutter's Marvel Creative Committee, which had oversight over everything Marvel related. Captain America Civil War was the final straw for Feige, and Perlmutter was ejected from the Marvel Studios decision-making process. Perlmutter also objected to the development of Black Panther and Captain Marvel, as revealed by Bob Iger's memoir earlier this year. The Marvel Creative Committee was soon after disbanded. However, Marvel Television, led by Jeff Loeb, more on him later, remained under Perlmutter's control, splitting up Marvel's film and TV divisions. Having broken free from Perlmutter and given carte blanche by Disney to build the MCU out, Feige turned his attention to the most ambitious film project of all time, the 2-part $700 million budgeted Avengers finale starring every single actor you've ever heard of. This was to be Feige's crowning achievement, the culmination of a decade of storytelling. In the spring of 2015, Feige secured directors Joe and Anthony Russo and writers Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. Feige worked closely with Marvel's standalone film directors to maintain the big picture continuity. Initially, the plan was to film Infinity War and Endgame simultaneously, including filming both on the same day depending on what's going on, starting in November 2016. However, the strain of developing and filming the two at the same time negatively affected pre-production, and the decision was made a couple months before filming started to shoot the films back-to-back instead. Infinity War started in January 2017 and filmed through that July, while Endgame filmed from that August through January 2018. It was the largest single production in cinema history, and both films would shatter numerous records, with Endgame becoming the top earning film of all time. Oh, and by the way, during all that, Disney bought Fox. Yes, at the end of 2017, Disney gobbled up 21st Century Fox, a topic I've already tackled at length, link in the description below. Back in 1993, needing money to stay afloat, Marvel sold the screen rights for both X-Men and the Fantastic Four to Fox. Disney's purchase of Fox brings these properties back into the family and turned over to Kevin Feige. At the time of the acquisition, there were several Marvel films in development at Fox. Deadpool 2 was getting ready for release, Dark Phoenix and New Mutants had just finished filming, and spin-offs Gambit, X-Force, and X-23 were in some form of early development. Obviously, Mickey killed those plans. New Mutants has seen 2 years of delays, but has yet to undergo the much talked about reshoots, and it really doesn't fit into Feige's grand vision. It remains to be seen if New Mutants will ever actually be seen. Not helping matters, Dark Phoenix bombed critically and commercially, resulting in a loss for Disney of over
$100 million.
Finally, there's the Deadpool question. Over the course of 2017, Feige's position on the possibility of R-rated MCU films shifted from a hard no to a it's not out of the question. Earlier this year, when asked about Deadpool, Feige said that if it's not broke, don't fix it. Additionally, Feige announced a new Blade project at Comic-Con, paving the way for more R-rated fare if Marvel wants to go that route. I believe they're looking a lot at Joker right now, which just became the highest grossing R-rated film of all time. That might tip the scales in favor of R-rated MCU projects moving forward. Alright, let's talk about James Gunn. Prior to Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn was best known for writing the live-action Scooby-Doo films and directing PG porn.
You want to watch PG porn because you want to see some nice, clean pornography that the whole family can enjoy. My brother Sean really needs some money, and PG porn will support him.
Anyway, in July of 2018, online conspiracy theorists dug up tweets from Gunn from before he joined Disney, and these tweets contained twisted and sometimes tasteless attempts at humor. Gunn was instantly fired by Alan Horn during Comic-Con, no less, resulting in immense criticism throughout Hollywood. Dave Bautista threatened to quit the franchise, and all the Guardians signed a letter standing in solidarity with Gunn. To appease fans, Feige committed to using the script that Gunn had already written for Guardians 3, but the whole project was indefinitely postponed. Feige had been working closely with Gunn on the future of the cosmic MCU films. Gunn, who immediately apologized for the tweets, quickly was scooped up by DC to write and direct another Suicide Squad movie, which is notable as the first Suicide Squad was heavily re-edited in post-production in response to the success of Guardians. Gunn met with Alan Horn several times over the following months, mainly to clear the air, and in March of 2019 he was officially rehired. Behind the scenes, Feige advocated for Gunn throughout the 9-month ordeal. Reports are no other directors were actually under consideration. Remember when Marvel sold the X-Men film rights to Fox in 1993? That still wasn't enough to keep Marvel afloat. In '98, they sold the Spider-Man film rights to Sony after the failure of Sony's The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and that attempted cinematic universe. More on that later, by the way. Sony and Marvel began negotiating in late 2014 to bring Spidey into the MCU. A deal was reached in February of 2015. Marvel and Sony were to co-produce a number of Spider-Man films, and Marvel would be able to include the character in 3 crossovers. Marvel would earn 5% of the Spider-Man solo film's revenue, and Feige would be the lead creative producer. This past August, the world ended, but only for 2 months. Sony and Disney could not agree on a new production deal, with Disney leadership demanding a 50-50 split of production costs and earnings. Sony balked at Disney's ridiculous demand, and the two companies started negotiating through public opinion. I always knew that a deal would be worked out here because there's simply too much money that would have been left on the table. Lo and behold, a compromise was reached 1 month later. Disney would get 25% equity in the next Spider-Man film for Feige's continued involvement. Feige, again, despite being the talent at the center of this dispute, stayed in the shadows and let public opinion do his job for him. You'll notice a theme throughout a lot of these instances, which is Kevin Feige relies on public opinion because the fans in almost every circumstance are on his side. Feige knows it, and he's willing to step back and let the public be his voice. So here we are in 2019. It's become clear that Kevin Feige's portfolio within Disney is expanding. In fact, he was recently promoted to Marvel's Chief Content Officer. That puts Feige in charge of all of Marvel's creative output. Film, television, animation, and yes, now Marvel's published comic books. As a result of this promotion, Marvel Television's head Jeff Loeb, remember him, has been sent packing. Remember, Loeb and his television department stayed with Ike Perlmutter when Feige and Marvel Studios split off. As a result, other Marvel television programs that were initially promoted as part of the MCU started to drift away from those movies. With Loeb and Marvel Television out of the way, Feige is now free to control every aspect of Marvel multimedia. Already, a planned upcoming Ghost Rider show for Hulu has been canceled, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Cloak and Dagger have also recently been canceled, so Loeb's programs are quickly being phased out. So, Feige currently has 8 shows in development for Disney+, with the first show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, set to debut next fall. The first season is budgeted at, get ready, $150 million for 6 episodes. That's the same budget for the Captain Marvel film. Similar budgets are expected for WandaVision, Loki, and the future D+ shows. In the year 2021, Feige will be managing 3 series and 4 films with, in all likelihood, a combined budget of
$1 billion.
And yet, Feige's portfolio continues to grow from there. Kevin Feige is developing a Star Wars film. This was announced just about a month ago, and there are no concrete details yet, but it shows that Disney sees a future for Feige beyond Marvel. Feige is a known Star Wars fan. He drops references in the MCU all the time. Now, where is Feige going to find the time to develop this alongside a dozen Marvel films and shows? I have no idea, but at this point, it's moronic to doubt Feige. I want to take a quick moment in memory of the failed copycat universes. Remember the amazing Spider-Man cinematic universe? Or Universal's Dark Universe? Or the Hasbro cinematic universe? Or the Transformers cinematic universe? Or the King Arthur universe? Well, those aren't around anymore, but that's alright. At least we have the Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe to look forward to. So, what's next? All in all, Feige's power at Disney grows by the day, and I have no doubts that he is being groomed for further executive leadership at the company. Disney CEO Bob Iger is set to retire in 2021. I doubt he will. He keeps adding 2 years at a time. And while Feige isn't considered, a possible CEO candidate, there will be an executive reshuffling at Disney, and it's easy to imagine Feige continuing to be elevated as he proves himself to be one of the most valuable players in all of Hollywood. I think Feige could be in play for Alan Horn's role as the chief of the Walt Disney Studios. Alan Horn will be 78 when Iger retires, and given that Horn only accepted this job in the first place because Iger asked Alan Horn to unretire, I imagine that Alan Horn probably plans on going out alongside Bob Iger. That just makes sense to me. It's something to keep an eye on. Anyways, that's your look at the past 3 years for Kevin Feige. Check back in 3 years from now when we're going to talk about how Feige has revolutionized the Disney fairy tale cinematic universe. Cannot wait for that to start. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so. Leave a comment below what you think of this video. Thanks for watching again. Give it a like and stay tuned for more right here.